ògbóhùn erin ọ̀mọ̀sà òjìyàn lọ́bẹ̀ àjànàkú kọjá mo rí nǹkan fìrí tá a bá rẹ́rìn ká sọ pé arẹ́rìn. Solocard Multiventures Limited ilé ọ̀rẹ́ àgbẹ̀ ni mò ń sọ níbi káta ojúlówó kẹ́míkà àti fataláísà tí kìí ṣe yèèpẹ̀. ọ̀rẹ́ mi sọnù kí owó bá sọnù.
Ìwé kíkọ láìsí ọkọ àti àdá kò ì pẹ́ o, kò ì pẹ́ o. Iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ níṣẹ́ ilé wa, ẹni kò ṣiṣẹ́ á máa jalè. Ìwé kíkọ láìsí ọkọ àti àdá kò ì pẹ́ o, kò ì pẹ́ o. Iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ níṣẹ́ ilé wa, ẹni kò ṣiṣẹ́ á máa jalè.
We're saying a very good day to everybody. Sorry, I had to take it that way. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's just a way of catching everybody's attention because we know we just need to bring it down to some fun a little, not just business as business as business. So first of all, I want to say I want to wish all our Muslim brothers and sisters Aku Itunawe, and hope you are enjoying your holiday, because I know almost everybody has holiday yesterday and today. But to farmers, I'm very sure 60% of the farmers that I know of were on their farm yesterday, even though they didn't spend much time there, but they just have to go there and see what is happening there. And that's just one thing about farmers, because even when you're on break, farmers have to be active so they can actually have food to eat in your house. And that's why we are here every day, to let you know how you can actually do it very well, to have food readily available and all the time. Once again, my name remains Mark Oluwafemi for Solocard Multiventures Limited. It's our weekly episode where we bring to your notice informations on agriculture, things that we have experienced over the time, and some things that we noticed, or some challenges that we actually provided solutions to for some farmers. Because we do visit people's farms to see what is going on there. People come here to complain, and we always attend to their complaints just to provide solutions to them as well too. Because most of the time, most farmers are having challenges on their farm that they don't know anything about, and it's not a big deal. But for the fact that they are ignorant of what is happening, they will end up spending too much money on unnecessary things, which at the end of the day will damage the farm. You get the point? There is a challenge which does not require too much expenses, but the farmer is not aware. He goes ahead to use his money to buy some extraordinary chemicals which he will now use to feed up the farm, and the farm will still die at the end of the day, because you are giving a baby a baby that is having malaria, and you are giving that baby typhoid medicine. They are two different things. What will happen to the baby? The baby will have problem, and that's some of the things that happen to our farm. Sorry, I will always use this example, a baby, because generally our plants are just like babies, because we nurture them to grow. Just the same way you will nurture a baby to grow, and that's the same way we'll be nurturing our plants. So if you can actually nurture your plant and let them see them like a baby that you need to care for, a baby that you need to carefully handle, then you will get the best out of them. Because you will see reason why you need to make them not to go through any stress. You will see reason why you just need to treat them carefully. By so doing, you will get the best result out of them. And that is what we try to bring to your notice. Also, we also want you to understand the fact that there are certain chemicals that you need to be used, that you can use to take care of these plants. And there are required dosage. Because most of the time, if you don't get the required dosage, you might be harming the people that are buying your products. Please take notes. If you don't use the required dosage, if you're using overdose on the plant, at the end of the day, you might be harming the people that are buying your products. It is advised that anytime you want to spray your farm, if you're harvesting, let's say tomorrow or next tomorrow, do not spray your farm today. At least 48 hours from the time you want to harvest, do not spray anything on your farm. Else you'll be giving the people that are consuming your products chemicals. Whereas that we all know that means that when we buy fruit from the market, we just slightly wash them. For instance, tomato or cucumber, and the case may be, we slightly wash them and we start consuming. Most of these chemicals that they are spraying, if they are spraying overdose, most of them still remains on these plants, and we don't know. We consume them to our body system, then they tend to harm us. Let's take note. Most of the people that are suffering from cancer in Nigeria today, some of them are from intakes. Some of the diseases we have in our body system today, they are from the intakes that we don't know of. There are so many things that we take into our body system that we are not careful about. And that's why from this end, from the agricultural end, we are trying to let farmers know how they can actually do these things and don't harm the populace that are eating their fruits. Don't harm the customers that are consuming their products. At least if every corner, every sector could take care of this thing and try to sensitize people on how to handle products, thereby not contaminating our body system, then we could reduce drastically the challenges, the health challenges most people are facing today. So I know there are some persons out there that they will not eat anything that is not organic. Yeah, it is not because of the fact that they are trying to tell you they are different or whatever, but they are just trying to be conscious of what they are taking, either organic or inorganic. If the dosage is not appropriate, it contaminates. There are always chemical reaction in the things we're actually using if care is not taken. The thing is this, these reactions occur based on some things that we don't care to look into how we should handle them. We have so many drinks today that you should not handle anyhow, but we don't care. We don't see them as a big deal. We just keep them anywhere. At the end of the day, they contaminate our body, but we don't know. It is the resultant effect much more later that you get to discover. And that's why we want, from this end, we want to let our farmers to understand the fact that there is a dry dosage for a particular thing you want to spray on your farm. Please take note. And if you are harvesting, you should not spray at least 48 hours before the day you want to harvest. Do not spray any chemical on your field. Thereby, you will be harvesting those fruit, sending it to the market, and the customers that will buy those products will be taking in small chemicals into their body system. Over time, it becomes a major problem in their body system, and they start spending their money to treat themselves. Even while they are spending their money to buy food to eat just to stay healthy, but they are buying problems as well too. So please take note of this one. When you are buying any chemical from any agro store, we want you to ask questions about how to administer them. These are some of the frequently asked questions that people are always asking on. How do we do this? How do we do this? We know of so many farms that we've been to that instead for them to use 50 mil of a particular pesticide they're using in the field, they're using about 200 mil. That is too much. Number one, it will destroy the plant. Number two, whoever is buying that fruit or that produce from you, they are actually taking in some chemicals. The only way you can actually neutralize some effect of this chemical or wash them to the barest minimum on your fruit that you're buying from market is when you use warm water to wash them. But if I may ask today, how many of us use warm water to wash our cucumber? How many of us use warm water to wash our watermelon when you buy them? How many of you use warm water to wash your tomato, your pepper, your habanero, whatever you buy from the market, your carrot, as the case may be? How many of us are using those warm water to wash them? We don't. We just put them on the tap and rinse it slightly and we take them off the top, especially for our tomatoes. To those that used to grind tomatoes in the market, you know what I'm talking about. You just put tomato in the bowl, the woman will just pour small water and use her hand to turn it and pack it and put it inside the blender and blend for you. You take it home and go and cook. These are some of the things that actually cause problems for our body system that we don't know. We are not aware of it. What happens if the farmer that sold the tomato to the market sprayed the previous day before you harvested that tomato? And you taking that tomato, the one that's washing it for you just dangle it inside the water, pour it inside the blender and take it and blend it for you. You took it home, you prepared to you, and you and your family ate. Fine, you try to provide food for your family, but in the sense, you are taking in chemicals gradually, which will later accumulate in the body system and cause problem for the body. And that's why most internal problems are actually results of intakes from what we eat. So we want you, our farmers, to be aware. Don't let our produce be a source of poison to our customers. Please take note, whatever thing you are administering on your farm, if you are harvesting the day after, before that day, a day after that day, or 2 days after that day, please do not spray. Spray at least 48 hours before the day you are harvesting. At least that will have neutralized the effect of the chemical to some extent, and by the time they wash it, even if it's not properly washed, it will reduce the effect in our body system. Please, I want you to take note of this thing. So these are some of the things we want you to know. Now, part of the frequently asked questions by our customers, we had from our last episode to today, we had several results, several feedbacks from our customers, from our farmers all around, and we'll be treating some of those questions today. Though we provided solutions to them, but we want them to understand the fact that we can actually bring it up on this platform so that everybody could benefit from these questions. Because whatever question it may be, might be a challenge you're also facing on your farm. And I'll go back to tomatoes again. Now, so many persons are having the challenge of leaf curl in their tomato till date. We talked about this in our last episode, that was last week, and we will still repeat this because we had several farms came up with the same thing again, leaf curl, and that's what we're bringing up to the platform again today to let you understand. Now, leaf curl is could be caused by different things, different conditions, which we mentioned the last week we talked about it. We have different things that can cause about leaf curl in your tomato farm or your pepper farm. Number one, if the plant is not getting enough moisture. To those that are doing open field cultivation and you don't have irrigation, we all know that over the days now, they've not been raining in some parts. I know some areas they've not seen rain since last week, and when the heat is too much, most of these plants, this leaf of a tomato will be folding. And I said the last time that what makes them to fold is when the leaf is releasing its water into the atmosphere due to evaporation. When the sun is high, it tends to absorb moisture from the plant leaves. The plant leaf does not have any resistance to resist the moisture from going out, and that's why when it loses the moisture, the plant tends to fold to protect itself, and that's what happened. On the other hand, aphids too can cause it. Thrips can cause leaf curl in your farm. So if you are not properly fumigating your farm using your pesticide, you will experience leaf curl on your farm. And also, there are bacteria that actually will make your leaves to curl. So if you're using your fungicide properly, and we told you that time that you should use your fungicide weekly. On your tomato farm, your fungicide should be used weekly. And we made mention of some of the fungicide that you can actually use. We talked about Cabridioy, we talked about Ridomigo, we talked about Exaca, we talked about we have so many of them, Mancozeb, we have Activator. These are just names. Most of the active ingredients are there, but we are not yet to advertise a particular product. But if you have good fungicide, it will actually help you control or reduce or mitigate most of these things to the barest minimum. Why we experience most of these things is that we are not observant enough, and these things comes like wildflies. What I mean is that they come into your farm gradually, and they fly over your farm in no distant time. And this is what we want you to understand. If you're having such farms, you need to be observant. If this thing is just attacking a particular environment, you need to take care of that environment almost immediately. Do not wait till the following day. Do not wait till the third day. Do not wait till the following week. Because by the following week, it will have spread all over the farm. We have a tomato farm at Idiroko at the moment. The tomato farm is a very big one, almost about 50 acres. And the tomato farm is doing wonderfully well. If you get there, you will love to cultivate tomato. Now, the day we got there, we realized that there were leaf curl on just one line of the tomato farm. And I'm very sure the previous day it will have entered the farm gradually, and nothing was done till the previous day. The day we got there, we found that it's almost taking over almost one line, and we decided to apply the fungicide almost immediately, try to control the leaf curl and the likes like that. Now, what happened was that we had a little delay that very day that we could not administer it. We had to wait till the following day. And by the time we got there the following morning, it has already gotten to about 3 of the beds. Like I said, the previous days was just on one bed, but the following day when we got there, it was about on 3 of the beds. You could see the rate at which it's expanding. So if we had to wait till the following week, then almost half of the field will be affected. And the bad thing about it is this: when a particular leaf is faulty or is having problem, the node would not give you that fruit you're expecting. And that's why you need to control this thing. Because if you feel the leaf is square, no problem, it's just a leaf, the leaf is just folded, no problem, it doesn't affect my tomato. It has a long way to reduce your yield. Because the moment the leaf is not healthy, it's the same leaf that will take the sunlight in for you. But the moment the leaf is not healthy, the nodes will not give you the fruit you're expecting. So please take it, and that's why you need to administer it. So while we administer the fungicide on the field that day, and to the barest minimum, we were able to control it that it doesn't extend much more than that 3 beds that we saw in the following day. And as at the moment now, the farm is fine. Even that 3 bed, we are constantly checking to ensure that it's not expanding more. By so doing, we are able to reduce the threat to our yield because we are about harvesting. Because if you feel there are fruits on your farm already and you don't control that one, by the time you are harvesting, more fruits will not come. Take note of this one. So for vegetable farmers, we all know that vegetable harvesting is a continuous harvesting. And if the plant is not healthy, you cannot have continuous harvest. Thereby the plant, by the time you harvest the first harvest, the plants start dying off, which should not be so. And that's the more reason why you need to take care of this one. Now, another question that we had over the week was that some people were complaining that the flowers of their peppers were falling off. This is one of the questions that we also treated the last time too. That's called flower abortion. And like I said, there's abortion in plants as well too. So now, what causes flower abortion? Number one, if there's not enough water. When the flowers start coming out, the flower is not getting enough water to actually grow very well. The point of connection from the flower to the node will be weakened. Then at every breeze or whatever, it drops the flower. Number two, pests also attack the flower because most of all these insects and the likes like that come around to perch on the flower. Maybe perhaps they try to suck some nectars from the flower and whatever. You know, by the time the flower is not getting, by the time these pests are invading the farm, they will attack the flower often and often. Then it makes the flower very weak, then to fall off. This is some of the things that we know. Then second, the other thing is nutrients. When there's not enough nutrients, the flower will not be healthy. At any obstruction or at any confrontation, or maybe the breeze blows or your body touches the flower, it will drop off. Some persons complain that the flowers are burning. The flowers are burning. The thing is it's not like they are burning, they are actually decaying. Because of the fact that the flowers have been attacked. And when they are attacked, they start deteriorating gradually in terms of changing color, then to fall off. So for you to mitigate this, number one, you need to constantly irrigate your farm, most especially that time that it is flowering. Number two, you need to give your plants good nutrients, and that is just the essence of why you have foliar fertilizers. These are some of the things that foliar fertilizer will do for you. It will help to sustain those flowers from them aborting, because when you apply this foliar fertilizer, it provides nutrients for the flower to actually be sustained and actually make them to blossom or to fruit and actually give you that result, because the number of flowers on your field is a function of the fruit you're actually expecting. So if your flowers are dropping off, then your fruits are already gone. So you need to take care of these things that you don't have flower abortion on your farm. Now the truth is this: you might not be able to mitigate the whole or eliminate flower abortion process on your farm, but you can actually try to control it to best minimum. If you can constantly use your foliar fertilizer at the onset of your flowering of your plant, then you can actually stop or reduce or perhaps even control flower abortion in the farm. And please take note, our plants have male flowers and female flowers. Obviously the male flowers will drop off. So most persons are experiencing the same thing, but they're actually experiencing male flowers dropping off of their farm, thinking it's the female flower. So please take note, we have male flowers and female flowers. The male flowers have their own time frame to drop off. They are only there just to pollinate. By the time they've been used or they've done their own assignment, they will go off. You have the female flowers blossoming into fruits. So please take note. So you might see some flowers dropping off in your field. then some of them are mayflowers. If a particular crop you're currently cultivating, you can actually use your phone to identify the mayflower or female flower. Just check online, you'll see the mayflower, how it looks like, how you can recognize a mayflower from a female flower. You will know whatever crop you're cultivating. Basically, the most pronounced one is the cucumber. If you're doing cucumber farming, you will always see that the female flowers will bring forth something at the bottom that looks like a very tiny cucumber. That's a female flower. But for the female flower, it's just the straight. Nothing of such will be there. So these are male flowers. So if those ones are falling off, those ones are meant to fall off. They are not fruits. So please take note. So this is some of the things that people are complaining about, that they have even experienced about the farm. Now, secondly, we have another question that we have from some of our farmers is this. So farmers are complaining that they did some vegetables, and they realized that those vegetables, some of them are not growing equally. That they are not growing equally, and they administer the same manure to all of them and stuff like that. Please take notes. The thing is, that's the most important. That's the most reason why you need to do a soil test about your field and relax like that, or you do a general assessment of the field. The part that you see that the plants are not growing very well, that shows that there is not enough nutrients in that soil there. So you need to actually come to the aid of that plant by adding more nutrients to the soil for the plant to actually grow well. Take note. You can actually administer the same quantity of nutrients to all the plants on the field generally, but there may be some part of your field that does not have good nutrients in them. There maybe this profile is very low, the pH is very low, that is not suitable for that particular crop. You need to boost the pH of the soil, increase the soil profile by adding fertilizer. And that's why most of the time we advise you use manure. But you know, it's not realistic when you're having maybe 200 acres or 300 acres of maize farm that you want to put manure. It's not possible. And that is why when you apply your fertilizer, when the plants are responding to this fertilizer, you will see areas that are not responding well. You need to quickly attend to those areas by supplying more nutrients to them to actually boost them up. This thing happens more in maize farming. Please take note, this thing happens more in maize farming. And these are some of the challenges some farmers are having. Now, at the moment, some persons came with a complaint that they did tomato nursery. Number one, that the tomato nursery, some of them are just dying off. So we actually requested for the videos of the tomato and the pepper, and we decided to check them. Please take note. Number one, at the nursery stage, like this farm that we saw their nursery, we realized the fact that where they kept the tomato nursery is too moist. The water they are applying to the tomato nursery is too moist, thereby damping is occurring at that point. Damping is when, at the point of connection, when your tomato nursery is growing from the nursery, that point at which it has a the point at which it leaves the soil, that part is always getting thin, like it's getting burned. It's called damping. The water is too much. So we told them they have to expose it to a bit sunlight for like an hour or two every day for the plants to actually get enough sunlight. They're taking too much water, they're not getting sunlight, and that is why damping is occurring. At that point, it's called damping when that is burning. So if you have the same challenges on your farm too, please take note. You need to expose those nurseries to sunlight a little, perhaps maybe 1 hour per day, or maybe 2 hours in the area where you don't have too much sunlight. But don't put them under direct sunlight, else it will fry them up. If care is not taken, please take note. Do not put them under direct sunlight, it will fry them up. Just move them away from where they were to a better place that the sunlight can actually reach them much more better than where they were before. That will help them to actually grow very well and prevent those ones dying. Now, some persons also came that their tomatoes are dying up on the field, that it's about flowering is dying up. Some of these things are bacterial effects. It's either nematode in the soil or bacterial weight. Some of the things that we notice, and that's why most of them there are several nematicides that you can actually use. And even for tomato farmers, it is advisable that if you are cultivating tomato, do a soil test of that place. At least test for the pH and check for nematode in the soil. Those two soil tests will actually help you to actually know what to do on that field. There are several nematicides that you can use. Not that you cannot, some people think that maybe when you have it in the soil, you cannot use the soil. Yes, you can still use the soil. And that's why we have nematicides that you can actually use to control those things. You control them from the nursery stage. When they get to the field, you administer the nematicide to them, and they are free. Your plants are free, and they will actually do well. Most of the time, when you plant a tomato, there was a particular farm we told them to do soil tests, to buy nematicide for the farm, and blah, blah, blah. They did tomatoes. They said no, that nothing will happen to their tomato. they planted the tomato, they transplanted the tomato, were doing fine. If I even came, they sent us video that the tomatoes were doing fine. And the thing is nematodes will not materialize until the plant start flowering. Take note, nematodes will not materialize until the plant start flowering. Bacterial weight will not materialize until the plant start flowering. And that's why most of the time when you have tomatoes, you have pepper, it's until the plant, tomatoes start flowering, pepper start flowering, suddenly you just see the plant will just die off like that, as if someone poured hot water on it. And that is why this thing will start materializing, because the plants will inhibit the nematode into the system for long. But when they start flowering, that's when the nematodes start materializing in the body, in the system of the plant, thereby will kill the plant almost immediately. They almost lost the farm. The farmer I was talking about, they almost lost the whole tomato farm when the tomatoes start flowering. So we are not just trying to say that we told them or whatever. We are trying to share this across to you so that you don't make the same mistake. Try and do these things. You are investing so much in this project that you would not allow a soil test. Maybe, I don't know how much a soil test will cost you. Maybe 40,000, 50,000, or 60,000, as the case may be. Even if it is 100,000, you can't allow 100,000 that you spend on soil test jeopardize millions that you spend on a particular project. And this is some of the things that some farmers will tend to do. They are trying to save 100,000, at the end of the day, they waste 2 million, they waste 3 million. So please, let's take note of this thing. It doesn't make any sense trying to run away from 100,000 naira, and at the end of the day, you go away and waste 3 million naira. Why don't you spend that 100,000 naira to save your 3 million naira? And that's what we are advising. If you want to do tomato, you want to do pepper, majorly vegetables, why don't you test your soil first? We want you to take note of that one. So please, and that's what we want you to do. Now, over the week we had some questions about cassava farming. Now, some persons came and asked questions that should they actually ridge their farm for cassava planting? Is it compulsory? Is it very necessary? And they said, should be so many persons plant cassava without making ridges after plowing the land? Yes, it is very possible to plant your cassava after plowing the land without making ridges. But the truth about it is this: we talked about cassava in one of our episodes, and we explained why you need to ridge the cassava farm. Because you will not, there's an advantage to ridging the cassava farm than planting on a flat land. The way cassava brings forth its fruit is quite easy. The cassava, when you plant the cassava stem will first of all shoot into the soil like a rope, like a root that's trying to establish. Now, the distance the root can travel is a function of the tubers you're going to get under when you are harvesting your cassava. So if you give the cassava good room to spread, then you'll be expecting good yield. And like I said, for cassava farming, conventionally, people that are doing cassava conventionally, they are the people that do not reach. And they are getting 9 tons, 8 tons to those that have good soil. Those that don't have good soil, they are getting maybe 4 tons, 5 tons per hectare. But I tell you, you can get 40 tons. Now look at the difference. For you to get 40 tons, if you plant properly, you get 40 tons. And if you don't reach, you plant on a flat land, you get 9 tons. Which one will you prefer to do? We know that things are quite expensive. Ridging a farm is quite expensive due to the cost of diesel at the moment now. But the advantages of ridging is quite more than no ridging at all. And that's why if you can actually afford to plow the land, why don't you try and ridge the land as well to get a good result? And we talked about getting a very good stem that will actually give you that yield. So some of the conditions that you need to look into. So it is advisable to ridge the land, but if you feel you cannot ridge the land, fine. But just know that the yield will be different. And these are some of the things that we have seen over the week, and some other general questions of chemical application, fertilizer application, fertilizer rates. And that's what we started this episode with, that you need to ask questions about the dosage of the chemical you are going to use in the field before you start administering them. And we said, do not administer any chemical on your field if you are going to harvest in 2 days from that day. Please take note, do not let your farm be a point of poison to your customers. Please, we need to be very conscious of some things that we are actually doing on our farm. Thereby, we don't harm the people that are buying our products, and thereby, we all could be safe. And once again, I would say a very big thank you to you for staying tuned to our program this very week. My name is Mark Olufemi, and like I will tell you, whatever you want to do, someone has done it before. Ask questions. So many farmers or so many farms today that are starting up, they have pushed aside the service of a consultant. And that's why you have consultants to tell you or guide you or tell you what to do next. so you don't actually waste that money, and thereby you don't actually make too many mistakes. So many farmers waste millions over the time because of the fact that they don't know about what they're spending money on. And but there's someone there that can actually tell them how to go about it and for them to get a good result. And that's why we are creating this platform, to share ideas to you. You can always ask questions about that thing you want to do. Someone has done it before. Learn from people's mistakes, and then you could get it right. Once again, we'll come back next week again. My name is Mark Olufemi, and we'll come back with more details on how we can actually help you do your agricultural practice very well. Thank you for staying tuned. My name is Mark Olufemi.
Bàbá Sídí, ọ̀rẹ́ mi, níbi táyé lajú dé yìí ló tún roko àrógbá kéèké.
Wọ́n rò ó ti sú mi, mo ti fi kó tó ẹ̀mẹ́ta lọ́dún
yìí. Níbo ló ti wá ra kẹ́míkà tiẹ̀?
A ní lọ́dọ̀ àwọn tí wọ́n máa ń to kẹ́míkà sí ẹ̀gbẹ́ títì ibẹ̀ mo rà.
Ó mà ṣe o, àgbárí bíjá tuntun kí o tò.
Kàṣà.
Sórí, ó ti gbọ́n pa sólókàdì ń tiẹ̀. Sólókàdì nìkan ní ta ojúlówó kẹ́míkà. Tó o bá dọ́dọ̀ rẹ̀ kò sírú kẹ́míkà tó wá tó rí. Kí ni jẹ́ èpò níwájú kẹ́míkà sólókàdì?
Ṣé lóòótọ́ ni? Ṣé lóòótọ́?
Òótọ́ ni mo sọ fún ọ. Wo, má jẹ́ àlọ́.
Mo rí gbogbo rẹ.
Kẹ́míkà sólókàdì.
Sólókàdì.
Bẹ́ẹ̀. Kẹ́míkà sólókàdì, kẹ́míkà tó dáa ni.
Sólókàdì.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni.
Kẹ́míkà sólókàdì.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni.
Dákun ọ̀rẹ́ mi. Níbo ni iléeṣẹ́ wọn wà bí ṣọ́ọ̀bù wọn níbi tí wọ́n ti ń ta tèmi náà ti lè ra?
Amúnigun Ògùnpa náà ni.
Ògùnpa ń bẹ̀rù.
Nọ́mbà 57.
Nọ́mbà 57.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni.
Amúnigun Ògùnpa.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Tọ́ ọ bá ti débẹ̀ ó ti rí ilé wọn báyìí. Wọ́n kàn wọ ọbẹ̀ lọ mú yìí tó wọ̀ ọ́.
Ọ̀rẹ́ mi.
Àgbẹ̀ ti di rọrùn.
Tèmi ti dá lọ́dún yìí. Ṣé ọ lọ ọ̀rẹ́?